Welcome back to the Trackstar Podcast, a conversation about music and culture centered around a playlist I've specifically created for our guests. This week, a conversation with the governor of Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro.
This song always makes me cry.
You're an emotional kind of guy. You like those.
I do. My wife would say I'm a little extra, but I want music to make me feel a certain way.
We'll talk about some Pennsylvania music legends, and the governor will share some stories about how music helped shape his life in politics.
Taylor Swift. She's from Berks County, Pennsylvania. Even though she's about to marry a Kansas City chief, we still claim her as our own. The more I was able to understand the problems with our probation system, the more I realized Meek got a bad deal.
I know the guest for this week's episode is a little bit different than usual, but I was really excited about this conversation with Governor Shapiro, and I feel like we connected on an authentic and human level. I'm having a baby, my first kid, in 2 days.
2 days?
On Thursday.
Dude, if your phone rings, you gotta
I know,
get out of
I'm
here.
ready
you
to
know
go.
That.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Check, check.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Trackstar, let's go.
I wish the world could be in these headphones right now.
I'm on the show. How fun.
We're off to a very hot start here. Well, welcome.
Thanks. Good to be here.
New York City? You spent a lot of time here?
Yeah, not a ton, but enough. We're not too far away in the Philly area.
When you write a book, you got to come to New York and kind of like
Gotta
shout
come
it
to
out.
New York. Yeah, you gotta do it. I'm grateful to be on with you, and you got the book there. Thank you.
We're gonna. So I don't know if you've ever seen this show before.
I have.
Music show. I'm gonna play you some songs. I'm not gonna tell you what songs I'm gonna play you, but you're gonna tell me who the artist is.
Okay.
We're gonna talk about them. And the idea is that the songs, everyone has stories about songs,
Sure.
right? So I chose these. I don't know if they're gonna be how much you're gonna have to say about them.
Every good song has a good story to it.
And there's a lot of Pennsylvania artists. Mm-hmm. So I was thinking about maybe there's a little theme there that we can work off of. But before we start the music, just introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Governor Josh Shapiro from the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Here you
Let's
go.
do it. Okay. This is the left side. Here we go. Allentown. It's iconic.
Who sings this song?
Billy Joel.
Billy Joel.
Yeah, come on.
Okay, how's that for a good song to start out with?
I love it. And look, first off, I love Billy Joel.
Yeah.
Second off, it tells a story, though. I don't know how deep I'm allowed to get on this show, but
You can get very deep
of
on this show.
the Allentown of yesterday. The Allentown of today, man, it's incredible. It's booming. It's our third largest city. There's businesses coming in. That whole area called the Lehigh Valley is doing really, really well. They got a great mayor. I mean, Allentown is not today what is depicted in the song, but it's an iconic song.
On a national level, Pennsylvania is very famous as being this super diverse swing state in every election. It can go either way.
Right.
There's sort of every type of
Yeah.
person in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Can you speak to that a little bit?
You know, it's interesting. Politically,
Yeah.
our state has one Democratic U.S. Senator, one Republican, pardon me, roughly a split congressional delegation. In my state house, the state house is led by Democrats by 1 vote, and the state Senate is led by Republicans by 2 votes. I mean, you can't be more politically divided. But what I have found is whether I'm in a rural community, which is about 58 of our 67 counties, or an urban community, think Philly or Pittsburgh or the suburbs, most folks just kind of want the same few things. They want good schools for their kids, safe communities. They want a job in the community that they love, and they want their rights and their freedoms protected. And so I speak to those issues whether I'm on a farm or whether I'm in some skyscraper somewhere.
People are more similar than they're different.
Hell yeah, absolutely.
Doing this show, I talk to people on the streets all the time. I've talked to thousands of people, strangers that I've never met before. And doing your job, you do the same thing. When you got started in politics, you knocked on 18,000 doors.
18,000 doors. I write about in the book. And I got to tell you, man, I love that experience of talking to somebody I don't know. I know you do too, because I see it on your show. But I went out the first few times when I was campaigning for state representative. I was 29 years old, didn't know what the hell I was doing. And I'd show up at events. Nobody would recognize me. Nobody would allow me to speak. And I came home one night just pissed. And I said to my wife, like, I'm never going to win this election. It was a big time Republican district, like 60% Republican district. And she goes, well, instead of showing up at events where they're not going to let you speak, where you're not going to meet people, why don't you go figure something else out? The next day I put on a comfortable pair of shoes. I've tried to continue that trend all these years later. And I went out and I knocked on 18,000 doors of my neighbors. And I learned to listen. And I got to tell you, man, to this day, I still reflect on those conversations. That experience taught me how to listen.
So on the theme of listening, you ready for another song?
Let's do it.
Yeah, you know what it is. Black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and
Black and yellow.
Yeah.
Wiz.
You know what it is.
He's a Yinzer.
Black and yellow, black and yellow, black and
So, yeah, Wiz is from Pittsburgh, man.
Black and yellow.
Black and yellow. And performed at my inauguration, or at our inaugural ball. Unbelievable. He was great. He was great.
Tell me about Pittsburgh.
By the way, can I say one more thing about
Please.
Wiz? Wiz came to the inaugural ball I had with his mom, who is a distinguished veteran. My wife, our first lady of Pennsylvania, honored her at a recent veterans event. And Wiz, by the way, had 2 jobs: sing his great music, including Black and Yellow, and because unfortunately weed is not yet legalized in Pennsylvania, I'm working on it, don't mention weed. That was like literally the only 2 rules. And what did he do? He sang his great songs and then he talked about weed. I'm like, dude, it's like the one thing. I'm working very hard to legalize it in
The
Pennsylvania.
brand is
but,
strong for him. He has to.
God bless him. But Pittsburgh, you know, by the way, another town, you know, you played Allentown first, another town that looked really different in the 70s than how it looks today. I mean, this was a steel town. This is where we manufactured steel, and we still do a lot of that. But it's also now a town where Google is, and where a ton of robotics companies, Gecko Robotics and others, are doing amazing work. And so Pittsburgh's really evolved. And on a personal note, Lori and I are blessed with 4 kids. 2 of our 4 kids live in Pittsburgh now, and so we love it out there.
You get to go out a bunch. You travel everywhere.
Yeah, I'm everywhere. Yeah, I'm probably in Pittsburgh at least once a week for work, and so it's kind of cool. I get to see my kids.
It's a big state to travel around.
Big state.
All the time.
Yeah,
A lot of ground to cover.
Yeah,
2 for 2.
2 for 2.
Let's do another song. Maybe the most famous Pennsylvania artist of all.
This song always makes me cry.
Go for it. You can cry.
Do it? No, I'm not
It's a
gonna
safe
cry. I don't, Taylor Swift, Never Grow Up. Come on. I love when she sings this song. It makes me think. It makes me think about my little girl who is 24 years old now, and man, when you're a new dad, particularly to a little girl, and you watch her grow up, you think about all those moments in your life when she was that little girl in the little dresses that you were carrying places, and now she's a grown woman doing amazing things. So I'm so proud of her, but man, what I wouldn't give to be able to pick her up and carry her like I did before. And Taylor's song makes me think of that. Taylor, like she's my friend. Taylor Swift song makes me think of that.
And she's from Pennsylvania.
And she is from Wyomissing. She's from Berks County, Pennsylvania.
Come on.
Even though she's about to marry a Kansas City chief, we still claim her as our own.
But were you born in Kansas City?
I actually was. My dad was wrapping up medical school.
Yeah.
I'd be lying if I said I remember anything. I think we left when I wasn't even 1, and then we settled in the home where I grew up in suburban Philly.
My dad was a doctor, and I learned a lot from having a parent who's a doctor. And just like had an office, had a family practice, and knew everyone in the neighborhood.
Yes.
Even right here in New York
Yes.
City, like it was still like this sense of community. I'm curious what you learned having a father who's a doctor.
I wrote about that a lot in my book. My dad and my mom really inspired me to help others. I saw my mom did as a teacher and as a social activist, and my dad was the local pediatrician, like the GP for kids, like your pop. And he was like the guy everybody called in the neighborhood, right? Whenever there was a problem, he called. I'm sure you remember these stories from as you were growing up. And I thought that was the coolest thing, that my dad was the guy that folks went to when they needed him. And so I actually thought I was going to be a doctor like my dad. I went to college to do that, except they make you take organic chemistry, which I really sucked at. I actually flunked out of pre-med The same day I got cut from the men's basketball team, which was also the same day when someone knocked on my dorm room door and asked me to run for student government, which I thought, I don't really want to do that. But that, looking back on it, that was probably the pivotal day that led to where I am today.
And you went on to become the head of the student body government as a freshman? First time ever?
First time ever. How about that?
Not bad.
I'd be lying if I said I had a plan for any of that. I really didn't. And I certainly didn't have a plan that would get me here.
Another great Pennsylvania artist coming your way.
All right, here we go.
Ain't this what they've been waiting for?
Meek.
You ready?
Meek's my buddy. Dreams and Nightmares. Which...
I used to pray for
By the way, if you want to get hyped up,
Yeah.
just listen to that song.
by the way, every Philly sports team, including the Birds, you're probably a Giants fan, but thank you for Saquon, by the way. We appreciate that. That is sort of the unofficial anthem for a lot of Philly sports teams. I knew of Meek when, just as an artist, but a really good friend of mine, a guy named Michael Rubin, who runs Fanatics, called me one day, unbelievably upset when he was with Meek at what should have been a pretty routine hearing, a probation hearing. And the judge actually ordered him to be put back in prison for about 2 years.
Yeah.
And Michael called me right after, really, really, really upset and pissed. He thought the judge got it wrong. And remember, I was attorney general at the time. And I got to be honest with you, my first reaction was Meek must have done something to deserve that. And the more I dug into it, the more I listened to Michael, the more I was able to understand the problems with our probation system, the more I realized Meek got a bad deal and Michael was right. They eventually worked hard to free Meek, but what it spurred on was a lot of work to focus on people like Meek who get caught up in the system, who aren't famous, right? And who don't have a platform and don't have a friend like Michael. And I'm proud of the fact that as governor, we have signed some of the most sweeping criminal justice reforms, probation reform bills in the history of our Commonwealth. I've signed hundreds of pardons and a significant number of clemencies. And I believe in second chances. And I believe you should not be defined by your worst day. And you should certainly not get caught up in a broken system. Meek helped teach me that. By the way, first time I got together with Meek shortly after he got out of jail, I told him directly that I really didn't like a lot of his music. I liked Dreams and Nightmares, but I didn't like a lot of it. I didn't like the way he talked about women. I didn't like some of the language he used. And he actually took the time to walk me through sort of all of his lyrics. And while it may seem somewhat offensive on the surface, the deeper meaning of those words. And we still, to this day, he'll send me, a track he's working on and ask me what I think, or, I'll give him honest feedback. And I also tell him I'm probably not your target audience either. So, don't listen to me, but we have a great relationship and I'm really proud of him.
What kind of music did you listen to growing up?
I think a lot of classic rock.
Yeah.
In Philly, that was like 93.3 WMMR. I think now it's country and hip hop, which I know is kind of a strange mix, but
Country and hip hop are like a horseshoeing together.
starting to.
Yeah.
Little Jelly Roll and Post Malone. And,
Definitely.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about this the other day. There are a lot of people who are sort of feel like they don't like the government, or they're frustrated with the government, or they get upset about it. And I find that there's some confusion between the government and politics. Like, politics sometimes gets in the way of what the government actually does. Like, the idea of it can get nasty, right? It can be about airing grievances. It can be like these fights that people have. Whereas government can be something as simple as making sure there's no snow.
Right.
So that, like, the roads get cleared or the traffic lights work.
Yeah.
Can you speak to the difference between politics and government? Do you think about that at all?
I do. Look, politics to me is like a means to an end. I don't mean that in any negative way, but you have to go through the political process where the public gets to choose you or somebody else, right, in a contest, in an election. But I think for too many people, the politics is the end.
Yeah.
Where it's just all about slashing and burning somebody else or winning for the sake of winning. to me, the thrill is not election night, but swearing in day. Because when you get sworn in, you actually get to do the work. Yeah. You get to make people's lives better. I fundamentally believe government can be a force for good in people's lives. If I didn't believe that, I would not be doing this. I lament the fact that the politics is what oftentimes defines the news cycle as opposed to the accomplishment or the failure to accomplish something on the governmental side.
Because like when stuff works, it's a really cool thing.
It's a great thing.
And we always talk about when stuff doesn't work, but we don't talk enough about when stuff does work.
I think that's right.
What I want, you got, and it might be hard to handle, but like a flame that burns a candle.
No, man, is that Hall & Oates?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, all right. I remember this song.
Yeah, pretty good. Philadelphia.
There you go. There you go.
Pride of Philadelphia.
Hall & Oates, another great Philly band.
Philadelphia has this incredible music history.
Yes.
Like with Philadelphia soul music, there's so much great stuff
Yep.
came out of there and really took over the world, took over the country, took over the world.
Yeah. I got to tell you, there is a distinct sound in Philly. And I think that there really is something unique about that Philly sound that leads to a broader, impact in the music world. We talked about Meek before, but just some great music, Hall & Oates, Patti LaBelle, and others that comes out of Philly. Pretty special. Now you got me on the Hall & Oates there.
All right,
They had good hair too.
You talked about country music. I want to get your take on a few people. Here's someone who I think is pretty one of the best right now.
I love Luke Combs. Love him. And I love this song. I'm going to cry. It's about my son. I mean, I love this song. So this is off of Luke Combs' Father and Sons album. I love every single one of those songs. And I write about my kids a lot in this book. And it makes me think a lot, every day about, like, did I measure up as a dad?
Yeah.
And every day I'm just trying to raise our kids in a way where they get to grow up and be their best selves. And that album really, really hit home with me. And that's a relatively new album. I think it just came out in the last few months.
It's his last one.
Luke Combs is amazing. I listen to him a lot.
I'm having a baby, my first kid, in
Nice.
2 days.
2 days?
On Thursday. 3 days.
Dude, if your phone rings, you got to
I
get
know.
out of
I'm
here.
ready
You
to
know
go.
that, right?
She knows. She's like
Nearby,
she's
you
like,
got the plan?
We're close. We got a plan.
All right. You got the bag and everything?
And I
Your
met
job
Luke
is the
Combs
bag.
the other
Shut
day.
up.
And we were talking about this same thing. And he said the exact same thing. He's like, you ready to go to the hospital? I'll come with you.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how proud he is, as a father.
Yeah.
And how important that is to him. But do you have any advice for me?
For you?
Yeah. Or for anyone really who's
Don't forget the
gonna be a new
bag.
parent.
Do whatever the hell your wife says in the in the delivery room. You love the idea of becoming a dad, but right now I don't know if you can fully understand that in 2 days, 3 days, God willing, when you hold this baby for the first time, you would literally give up your life for it. You love this child. You're having a boy or girl.
Boy, yeah.
You will give up your life for your son. You will do anything for your son. And that is like an unbelievable emotion that is impossible for you to feel today, but you're going to feel it in a few days. And you will carry that with you for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
It's the greatest thing in the world.
I think Luke Combs, his music, he speaks of that on a lot of different songs.
He really does.
About that.
But I'm jealous you got the chance to meet him. I'd love to meet him sometime.
We can make that happen.
All right. What's next?
My paycheck could
It's my most played song in 2024. Larry Fleet, incredible song, The Things I Take for Granted.
Why did you play that song so much?
I played that Larry Fleet song quite a bit as I was struggling with a decision back in the summer of 2024 as to whether or not I wanted to be, considered for the vice presidency and go through that process. And it was an unbelievable honor to go through it. And in the end, I withdrew from consideration largely because I felt that, the best way I could serve, the best way I could help others was in my job as governor. And also I realized going through that, where you can't really talk, you can't really share anything. People sort of project their feelings on you. They project their views onto you. They don't really know you, and they're saying, well, you think this or you're about that or what have you. And I'm a big boy, I can take it, but it's a process that requires you to reflect on the things that really make you tick and the things that you really feel blessed by and the things, as the song talks about, that sometimes maybe you take for granted. And I can tell you, I don't take any of that for granted.
You talk a lot about your faith
Yeah.
in the book and how important that is to you. I'm wondering if you can speak a little bit to how that's like a driving factor just in your daily life, right? How that helps ground you and helps sort of keep you focused and on message.
Yeah. Faith, to me, is sort of it centers me around the work. Mm-hmm. It drives me to serve, and it pushes me to help other people. And I would never sort of project my religion on someone else. But I do think that there's kind of a shared faith we all have that I think most people, regardless of their religion or if they believe in anything at all, they do want to love thy neighbor. They do want to, feed the hungry. And so for me, faith is grounding. Faith calls me to serve, and faith calls me to help people in those basic ways. I've also found that my faith has brought me closer to others, even people who don't share my religion, because it's opened up others to have a conversation with me about what's important to them.
There's this idea that you talk about fish differently.
Fish differently.
That resonated with
Yeah,
me.
I learned that in a Baptist church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I asked you about faith and not religion, because you're pretty open. What is that? Can you talk about what that means?
Yeah. Well, first off, I find that I get closer to my faith, not just in a synagogue. I'm Jewish, and that's where we worship, but in a mosque or in a Baptist church, as I write about in this book, where you learn about the depths of someone's belief, and you can draw lessons, maybe from a biblical text, but things that are applicable to this day. And I was in a place called Salem Baptist Church, which I've been to many times throughout my life. It's a place that's always welcomed me. We joke that the pastor there is my pastor, and he's a good friend. His name is Marshall Mitchell. I write about him in the book. And the point is to fish differently, to go to the other side of the boat, to try something different, to not be afraid to do things maybe against the grain. And so throughout my whole life, I've tried to fish differently. For me, fishing differently is treating everybody with respect, listening to people, finding common ground, even when our politics is trying to divide us. And I think that sermon that he gave in many ways connected me closer to my faith, which sounds crazy if you think about it, that a Baptist preacher in a predominantly black church could help a white Jewish guy feel closer to his faith. But I think if you stop and open yourself up to that possibility, folks can really find ways to come closer together. And that's what I was writing about.
There's something spiritual about music too, right? About going to a concert. There's a reason people in religious ceremonies sing together. There's a reason, something like the song we were just listening to with Larry Fleet, it feels spiritual.
It does.
It's kind of like, I don't know, it's communal.
It really does. It really does. We got another one?
We got a couple more. We're no longer in Pennsylvania, though.
Oh, boy. I'm holding the boombox up. Peter Gabriel. This is a great song. Peter Gabriel gets a lot of listens anymore. I'm glad I'm
trying to bring him back.
We're bringing him back. If you saw the movie Say Anything with John Cusack, Lloyd Dobler goes out there holding the boombox up to get the girl, and he's playing this song.
All my instincts, they return. The grand facade.
So I had a similar moment like that in my life. Sans boombox, but insert love letter instead. I was in college. I'm gonna show you how old I am. There was no, email at that point. I really, really missed my girlfriend from high school, and I wanted to get back together with her. And we were on a break. She imposed the break, not me. So I decided I was going to write her the greatest love letter of all time, which, by the way, I believe it to be to this day. And I wrote this beautiful love letter by hand, went to the post office, got the envelope, licked the envelope, stamped the whole thing, and mailed it to her in college. Figured it takes about 3 days, gets there. And I am expecting after she receives the letter, she's going to get in her car. She's going to drive to me. It's going to be like in a movie. It's going to be pouring rain and we run through the rain and we embrace and we get back together. And 3 days went by, 4 days went by, a week went by, a couple months went by. I did not hear from her. And I need to preface this by saying my wife is a good person, okay? But my wife got this love letter and decided rather than writing me back or running back to me, she would have a dramatic reading of the love letter to all of her friends in the dorm. I mean, it was brutal. Can I say fucking brutal? I mean, it was fucking brutal. And 30 years later, just a few months ago, I went to her college reunion and her friends came over to me and remembered passages from that love letter and read them out dramatically to me. To be clear, we got back together after college and we started dating for only 6 weeks. I proposed to her. She said yes. And we've been married 28 years and we're blessed with 4 kids. So I need to say what Lori did was very mean. Yeah. But she's a wonderful person. And I got the girl. I mean, the letter worked.
It worked in the long run.
Yeah.
I love that image, though, of holding up the boombox.
Right.
You could have done that.
I mean, that was an iconic movie, image. Don't you think?
Still is.
Yeah.
It still is.
Peter Gabriel. Was that from So? Was that from the album So? Yeah.
Okay, I got 2 more for you.
Promise me that you'll give faith the fighting chance.
All right, you're going to make me cry again.
That's the point of the show.
Oh, my God.
Sit it out or dance. I hope you dance.
Leanne Womack. Yeah. I hope you dance.
Okay, why is this song special?
So when our daughter Sophia was born, again, everything changed. You'll see this. You got to call me in a couple of days and let me know how this goes and if I was right. I mean, you just have this beautiful little girl and you want her to have no troubles in life. Yeah. And this song just really spoke to me as a new dad when I heard it. It came out around 2000, 2001, if memory serves me. And Soph was born in September of 2001. And then I not only loved the song, it helped her fall asleep. So we would play it on repeat. And I would just sit there singing to her sometimes when, we'd try and get her to sleep. I probably listened to that song 1,000 times. It's a great song. Haven't heard it in a while.
It's beautiful. You're an emotional kind of guy. You like those.
So.
You like those. The heart.
I do. My wife would say I'm a little extra, but I think I like it. I want music to make me feel a certain way. Yeah.
Okay, I want to talk about something kind of difficult. You open this book with the story of an attack on your home.
Yeah.
This morning, a man is charged in connection with an arson at the Pennsylvania governor's residence while Governor Shapiro and his family slept inside. Pennsylvania State Police said that Shapiro and his family were evacuated around 2 o'clock Sunday.
Just the way that you tell the story, it's horrible. It's a horrible thing to have to deal with and go through. And I just can't imagine what it's like being attacked and all the things that can go through your head. How has that experience changed you?
It tested me as a father and a husband. Yeah. The notion that you're doing this thing you love and you find great purpose in, as we've talked about here, and that put your kid's life at risk, put your wife's life at risk. That's a really hard thing to kind of grapple with and work through. It certainly caused our family to have a lot of tough talks and think about, is this something we want to do? I think we all answered yes immediately because you can't let the bad guys win. And you can't let political violence drive people out of the system. And you can't let political violence become something that, wins, if you will. Political violence is designed not just to hurt the person that they're targeting, but to silence large groups of people. That's the aim of it. I would say that personally, look, I was unharmed physically, unlike President Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania, or Charlie Kirk in Utah, or Melissa Hortman in Minnesota. Sadly, the list goes on and on and on. Gabby Giffords in Arizona. But even though we weren't physically harmed, I'm not going to lie to you that, there's an emotional scar that comes from that. And so it's a balancing act every day, being able to preserve my love for people and engaging with them with the realities of the world we're in. And at the same time, trying to be a good dad through all of this and look out for my kids and protect them in a really challenging world. You could quit, you could bail, and you could say, no, I don't want to do this. And we could all do that. We could all kind of turn to the dark side and say, this is too big. This is too big for us and too scary. Yeah. I think it speaks to the resolve of you, but also just of Americans. Yeah. More broadly, that it's like, we're not going to, like, the good is going to win, I think. I think the good is going to win. Americans don't want political violence taking over their system. I think we need all leaders to condemn political violence. Look, it's not okay that the President of the United States can condemn political violence against Charlie Kirk, which I condemned as well. It's awful. But then not even acknowledge that Melissa Hortman was shot to death, the former Speaker of the State House in Minnesota. And he didn't acknowledge it just because she's a Democrat. Come on. Like, we're better than this. And we've got to be better than this. And I think we need to universally condemn the violence, no matter who is being targeted or no matter who is the one doing the targeting. I do think we're better than this as a country, and I think we're going to get through it. A lot of people are scared right now about what's happening in Minnesota. What do we do? Let's start with the basics. What the federal government is doing in Minnesota is an unconstitutional use of force that is making people less safe, and the mission in Minnesota needs to be terminated immediately. Period. Hard stop. I think that there are 3 things that we can do literally this week to change the trajectory of what we're seeing in Minneapolis. Number one, there was a court, hearing today, and I think tomorrow as well, about whether or not, the question is whether or not the 10th Amendment of our U.S. Constitution protects the state interests from this federal overreach. That's one way to stop what's happening. Number 2, the Congress of the United States has to vote by Friday on whether to continue to fund ICE. I would not continue to fund ICE, and I would put limitations on the dollars that they have so that they cannot continue to wreak havoc on the communities in Minneapolis. And number 3, another concrete thing we could do this week is more people can speak up. I think you are seeing more and more, not just politicians, but people in public life, but more on the sort of cultural side. Steve Kerr, the coach of the Golden State Warriors, the more people with platforms that speak up and say, we are not going to allow this to continue, that will have an impact. I think people who typically support the president are getting scared and they're starting to question it and speak up against it, and that's because of public opinion. I have one more song for you that I think speaks to this.
This land is your land, and this land is my land.
From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters, this land was made for you and me. By the way, I'm sure I sound way better with that in my ear and singing than I actually do on this show. But that's the American story. It is our land and it is our country. And I write at the end of the book about how this country was born in the city of Philadelphia. Yeah. And it was our founders that wrote the documents, wrote the Declaration of Independence, came back a decade or so later and wrote the Constitution. But the beauty of what they did was all of their work was incomplete. Yeah. Right? So they left it to successive generations to do this work and to make it our land, as we, as the song goes. And that work, it's our work now. That's what I'm trying to do as governor every day. It's what I write about the people in this book who do this work every day. And so we have this responsibility to carry it forward and make sure the words of that last song ring true and carry us forward. And so I appreciate you doing your part. What you may not realize is that you're creating community here. You're giving people the ability to connect with others with something that's positive and uplifting and not divisive. And you're giving people an opportunity to think about these really tough issues. So I appreciate what you do. I'm grateful to your crew and everybody here. This is pretty special for me to be on here. And I think you're going to have a really positive impact on getting others to engage and do something about the world we're in.
Thank you. I appreciate it. We met over the summer, and I asked you a question. I said, have you been following Zoran Mamdani's campaign? He wasn't the mayor at the time, but he had this great social media presence.
Yeah.
And he was putting the work. And I said, what's your plan? Like, are you gonna do the same thing? Are you gonna put in that same work? And you said, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Here we are. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Great to meet you.
Let me know about the baby. I'm so excited for you.
The Trackstar Podcast is a presentation of public opinion created by me, Jack Coyne, Kieran Coyne, and Henry Cornaros. Written and produced by Noah John. Edited and produced by Haley Sobel. Theme and original composition by Kieran Coyne. Mixing by Devin Klein. Our agent is Joanna Orland at UTA. Thanks for listening. See you next Wednesday.